On Saturday, Oregon defeated UCLA 45-30 in a game with major Pac-12 implications. Next up is a trip to Berkeley to face the Cal Bears. Here are my 5 takeaways from the win over UCLA. 1. Penalties, drive killers and savers. This is one that goes all the way back to the beginning of the season. Oregon has had an issue with drive-killing penalties. From the mauling they took from Georgia to the penalty-marred blowout versus Stanford, they have had penalties that have taken down drives, including a few during this game versus UCLA. While Oregon definitely had a few moments where they got bailed out by some big plays, that won't necessarily always work. Primarily looking back to the Georgia and WSU games. The Ducks need to not get those big penalties. Combined, the Ducks and Bruins had 14 for 115 yards, with Oregon accounting for 8 penalties for 50 yards. That's an improvement from Stanford, but also still a high number. But Oregon also had a few penalties that saved their drives, including 2 massive defensive pie calls on back-to-back drives. These are the plays that can help give the offense the breathing room it needs to work. 2. When Bo Nix gets thrown off his rhythm, he falters. When he's confident, he thrives. You know this applies to a lot of QBs, but I feel like this is especially true for Nix this season. But when he gets flustered, you can tell he gets thrown off his rhythm. You saw this at the beginning of the game. He drove down the field, before a penalty stopped the drive cold. The Ducks stalled and had to kick a field goal. While they were able to re-steady Nix and push on to the win, it highlights how important that rhythm is to Oregon. Ever since that Georgia game and the after Eastern Washington game, Lanning has preached doing simple better. From then on, we saw that when Nix did the little things and settle in, he took off, and now has playing lights out football. But when he isn't comfortable or not able to settle in, things get tough. Take Georgia and even WSU. In that Georgia game, the defense made his life a nightmare.